What's up, Purple People podcast fans? Let's just start this episode off right. Is anyone else hurting from yesterday?
Yeah, that one hurts.
We're gonna do a hotline. We're gonna do a hotline today for all you hurting Minnesota Vikings fans. All right, I'm gonna put the guitar up for real. Welcome.
No, you gotta keep it though. You gotta keep it the
Free
whole show.
bird.
Everybody's gonna request stuff now.
Can you do Metallica? Yes, you can.
I can actually. We'll save that for a later date because we have to. This is a group therapy session today on the Purple People podcast, episode number 320. I stole this from the internet. I'm not going to take credit for somebody else's work. This is called Vlad Habit because.
Wait, who else had that?
I didn't steal it from a podcast. I just look up fantasy football team names, Buffalo Bill puns, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I like it.
Yeah, Vlad Habit, because Vladimir Dukas single-handedly beat the Vikings yesterday. It was all
It's all Vlad.
It's all Vlad.
But before we get into that, let me introduce everyone. Kyle West, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, how's it going? Pretty good. I'm here. I'm surviving.
Yeah, we made it through yesterday.
Yeah. Yep.
Adam Carlson, what's up, man?
If not for my fantasy football teams doing well this week, it'd be a bad one.
Oh, that makes one of us. Oof, I got murdered yesterday. Dorian Foley, last but not least.
What's going on, everybody? I just feel. Have you ever just felt? I don't know.
I watched your live video during the game. I got how you felt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to. I had to do my own therapy session before coming on here. I didn't want to that same energy. I wanted to try to kind of keep my tempers, tempered, So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was a bad game yesterday. We're going to go over the shocking loss yesterday at home, of all places, to the Buffalo Bills. But before that, we have a ton of quick hits to get through. So
Added a lot of quick hits
I
to
know,
avoid talking about this game.
Yeah, we're just like, let's see. What did Mike Zimmer have for lunch? We can talk about that for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, let me give a quick rundown of the Survival League first.
Okay.
Because we actually had 2 players eliminated already. Sorry, Darren, and sorry, my champion pick set. You're both out of here already.
Did they pick the Vikings?
No, they both failed to make picks, which is not a good way.
Oh, that's a terrible way to get out. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's not good. But we did have 14 teams in the league pick the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, God, no.
Which it seemed like a great pick at the time. It really did. There were also strikes handed out by people choosing the Houston Texans or the New England Patriots, both of which were not great choices. Jacksonville Jaguars seemed like a pretty good pick at the time as well. But we did have a couple bold fans who picked the Cleveland Browns to make it through. And then there were 3 of us who picked the Chicago Bears, which turned out to be a pretty good pick.
Did you pick Chicago, Adam?
I did.
Good
Nice.
choice. Kind of scary there for a little bit, but they pulled it out.
Right now, there are only 4 teams in the Survival League that do not have a strike. That is me, anyone's guess, Clint's legit pick set, and YY.
Damn it.
Heading into this week, we have, let me give a quick count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 teams that are on the verge of being eliminated if they get one more pick wrong. So this Survival League could go by pretty quickly this year.
Good God, guys. We're not even a quarter of the way done with the season. And I'm not dogging on you for the picks, right? We all thought the Vikings were going to win yesterday. Nobody, even the pros, the experts, I should say, they all picked the Vikings to win. But the thing that shocks me, Adam, is you're talking about people not making picks. You got to make some kind of a choice.
Yeah, even if you throw in a team that you think might have a shot. You look at these guys. 2 of them picked Cleveland to win, and Cleveland hasn't won a game before this in I don't even know how long.
Since 2016.
So, yeah, I mean, just make your pick. You can't win if you don't make a pick.
It's true.
Speaking of the Survival League, I wanted to bring this up really quick. For the prize package, I got some cool stuff that I found at work. They're probably not super valuable, like you're not going to retire off the profits of these, but I have a whole stack of like vintage Vikings cards that we're going to be tossing in for this prize package.
There you go.
There's some cool stuff in here. You know, we got some Randall Cunningham, some Robert Smith. There's a John Randall card down in here. Whole big stack of some Vikings player cards that whoever will win the Survival League, you will get these among some other cool stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, real nice.
To piggyback off of both of those gentlemen, this is free. This is why you should subscribe to all of our stuff. And if you end up winning the league, now you have to go up against some smart people like Adam, and he makes some good football picks most of the time. But if one of you guys wins, we cover the shipping and we send you free stuff. So to start the show off, like our stuff, subscribe to our stuff. We have an Instagram. We've got a YouTube that we're on live right now. We have a Facebook page. We've got a Twitter page. If you can get connected on that stuff, you'll find the links for stuff like the Survival League, and you could be the winner.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool stuff.
That is true. You could have been one of the 4 people that don't have a strike right now. That could have been you.
I was going to do it, and I completely forgot, and now I'm kicking myself in the ass because, well, probably not. I probably have a strike because I definitely would have picked the Vikings yesterday, but that's neither here nor there.
Hey, you would have been with the majority of the people.
Exactly.
Cool thing we like to do because we love everyone that participates, especially right now. We only have one person in the chat besides myself and Kyle, but, I mean, why not, you know? Get on the show, say hello. Shout out to Goliathus. Is that how you say it? Goliathus?
Yeah, Goliathus.
Okay, cool.
But we also do have, according to the number in the little corner, there's some people watching and not getting involved.
I like it. All right, let's run through all these quick hits. We have 14 of them. This is probably a show record. We'll see if we can top that later. I'm sure we can. Andrew Sendejo was fined $53,482 for his hit to Packers receiver Devontae Adams. The NFL is not playing around with all these hits, and good God, that's a lot of money. That's my salary for the years, guys, for the whole year, guys.
Yeah, that's a big chunk of change. But, you know, you wear a baseball cap that says "Make football violent again." You know, you might be asking for it.
And let's be honest, that hit on Adams was a big hit, and he may not have intended for it to be the hit that it was, but yeah, I get that one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about all this stuff later. Maybe have a bold statement that relates to this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's weird. There's such a gray area now on what you can do that came out with the new rule this year that no matter what position you're playing, you can't leave with the crown of the helmet. They're throwing in lots of stuff for quarterbacks now, trying to make the league safer. And inevitably, you're going to see a lot more fines and a lot more flags. But that's a steep price. Good God, $53,000+. That's crazy.
A lot of bones.
The next one, this happened last week before the game. I'm not sure if you rotated in yesterday or not, but the Vikings re-signed defensive tackle Tom Johnson. He was released recently from the Seattle Seahawks to make a roster spot. Minnesota released defensive tackle David Perry, who did shine in the 49ers game, who's reportedly worked out with the Seattle Seahawks. So look at that. We do another freaking swap with the Seahawks again. That's so funny. This came now. I'll tell you this, just on my end, I see a lot of negative stuff. And I have to, at this point in time, just being a fan for this long, being on social media this long, you just have to ignore some stupid people that are going to be online. They're going to say things. They're going to knee-jerk react to a loss like yesterday and say things like, fire Mike Zimmer. But I'll tell you something that was cool about this. Most every outlet that I saw, whether it be Facebook or Instagram or whatever, it was nothing but love to have Tom Johnson back.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone recognized, Vikings fans in particular, Tom Johnson was a good player for us. And I'm happy to have him back on the team.
He didn't fill a need. The salary cap wasn't in a great spot, but when you have the chance to pick up players who can contribute, and especially when they're talented and familiar with what's going on, you kind of got to go for it.
And he's also the oldest player on the team now. He is a veteran of the locker room, and so I can see why maybe they wanted to bring in a little more experience to that group.
And he got the money from signing that Seahawks deal, and he got the money from signing the Vikings deal.
I knew Adam would hit that up. He double dipped, so good for him. We talked about it plenty of times on the show. He could have been a starter somewhere else. He was a starter in Seattle. For whatever reason, they let him go.
Why'd Seattle cut him?
They thought that they could get him to sign back, like for a little bit cheaper.
And then we just snagged him. We came in, swooped in, and took him back.
Rick Spielman was like, nope. Taking you back. Come on back.
I'm guessing that it might have something to do with Mike Zimmer saying, hey, we could get this guy for real cheap and have more depth on our defensive line. And there it goes. That's all it takes.
Well, I've said this too. And talking about the season coming up, every year from that 2012 spot and on up until this season. When we played the Seahawks, we're like, damn it, this is going to be a rough game. I wouldn't say that I automatically penciled it for a loss, but back with the Legion of Boom and Russell Wilson just doing what he does all the time, I was like, shit, this is probably not going to be a good game. This is the first time that I thought, seeing them on the schedule, that we have a legit chance to beat them, even though it's away. And I think part of it might have been, if I'm speaking for Tom Johnson, is I think the Vikings are probably a better team than the Seahawks. So that might have had something to do with it. But either way, we were all stoked to see that he's coming back.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
so that was a cool one. I didn't get to go to the game yesterday. I don't think anybody in the chat did, or any of us here in the group, but former Vikings head coach Dennis Green became the 24th member of the Vikings Ring of Honor on Sunday. They decided to honor him at halftime. Probably not the outcome they thought of the game was going to be, but still pretty cool to see Dennis Green get some love. A lot of crap online about people saying he shouldn't have been in there, but he was a very, very, very good coach for us. I liked him.
Yeah.
And I thought he was a great guy, and I think it's cool. I hope that some of his family was there. I didn't see who was there to.
Yeah, his son sounded the horn before the game too.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Very cool. That happened yesterday, and then it said he's the 24th member of the Vikings Ring of Honor.
Now, name all 23, and go.
You didn't say who had to answer that, so Adam Carlson.
Oh, I thought you were going to, Mr. West.
No, this is my challenge for you guys. Name all 23 off the top of your head and go.
Let's see, is this like a Baskin Robbins kind of thing? That might be better at naming ice cream flavors.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna cheat here in a minute and look them up, but yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
Difficult to do off the top of my head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Denny Green didn't deserve to get in the Ring of Honor. Like, where is
there are people saying this on Twitter, but
there are so many people.
It's Twitter
on him and
about everything.
It's just people being nasty for no reason about stuff. It just so
We pause for a minute here and talk about Twitter. We've already had a couple questions in the chat about Everson Griffin and some rumors going around on Twitter, and we were going to talk about that here in a little bit, but we can just do it now because it kind of ties in.
Well, it is next on our quick hits too. So.
Is it next on the quick hits? I just want to say that those are all rumors coming from unverified accounts, and I would not believe any of them.
Vikings. I've seen rumors going from massive legal issues to controlled substances to domestic issues to injuries to illnesses. It's just people guessing things all over this place. So right now I'm not feeding too much into anything.
Oh, we're going into the Everson Griffin bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. We'll knock it out real quick. Like you said, we're not going to speculate. We've talked about it personally between the four of us. There's nothing confirmed. So we're not that kind of show where we're going to say, well, I know a guy who knows a guy. That's just not the way to do things.
No.
He did not practice last week and was ruled out, if you guys saw yesterday, for the Bills. On Friday, they ruled him out along with Dalvin Cook. Everson Griffin was not at the stadium, and Mike Zimmer said in the post-game presser that it was because of an undisclosed personal matter. That's all we've heard. That's all we know at the time. And because that's the only thing officially that's came out, that's all we're going to talk about.
Everything else is just hearsay.
Yeah, if you want to look online, go ahead. But it's like Adam said, you're not going to find a legitimate source, and it's just going to be widespread from one end to the spectrum to the other. But all we can tell you at the Purple People Podcast is we hope that it's nothing serious. We want him back as soon as possible. I did feel him being out yesterday probably sucked the wind out of the team a little bit, and we hope that if there's anything going on, he gets treatment for it, if it may be that, but whatever it is. But we want Everson back. We fully support the guy. He's never caused any issues, and I speak for everybody here at the podcast to say that we miss Everson and we want you back ASAP, man. So we hope everything's okay.
I feel like Everson always gets like a weird target because he's an upbeat guy.
Yeah.
Like when he got that picture taken at the 9/11 memorial with him and his girlfriend, and they were in front of it and they posed for a photo. It's like, you're not supposed to be smiling there. He's smiling because he's with his woman. And that's because who he is. He's not.
That's just Everson.
It's just if you don't know him as a player and a little bit as who he is off the field, I could see how that would look a little weird. But come on, guys. Social media is the worst place to try to break anything down.
And the thing, it's just like when you talk about on the show before, like clickbait, it's all to get people to look at and retweet and click on their stuff. And people will say things most of the time that are false, or they don't tell the whole truth. That's the big thing that bothers me the most about stuff online. It's contorted headlines or not the full spectrum of the story. So we don't know it yet, but when we find something out, we'll definitely post it on the page. And I'm sure if something comes out this week when we talk about the Rams game, we'll update you then. But that's all we have for now. So
yeah,
that's what we're going to leave it as, out of respect for him and because that's the kind of people we are and we want to be at the show. So
for now, his status for Thursday should be up in the air. You can't expect him to be there, but it would be nice.
I'm going to assume he's probably not going to be playing, and I'm basing that on nothing other than just kind of a feeling.
Absolute blind stab in the dark. That's what people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh man, this is a great quick hit to transition into. Minnesota picked up 14 yards rushing against the Bills. You didn't hear that wrong. 1-4, 10 plus 4, the total on the day. The lowest since October 28th, 1996, during his 15-13 loss to the Chicago Bears, in which Minnesota only gained 11 yards on 14 carries. Yeah, looking at the stats, and I'll just say this real fast because we're going to break it down, obviously, but I, for the life of me, couldn't understand and don't remember this just because the game seemed that lopsided. Kirk Cousins threw the ball 55 times yesterday, and he had 296 yards passing, but I didn't know that it was that lopsided. You know, usually when you think about the ideal game plan aside from special teams, you want to balance the passing and the rushing attack, maybe 60-40, 50-50. Didn't know it was that bad. That's
NFL
terrible.
low all-time rushing attempts 6.
Ever in history?
Just 6 yards
since the merger.
Wow.
6 attempts and 14 yards, and 11 of those 14 came from Mike Boone. So Latavius Murray had 1 yard yesterday, guys. And I'm not knocking Latavius because if they don't game plan for you to do that, he did catch 5 balls, but he only ran the ball twice and got a yard.
Well, when the best run blocker on your team is a wide receiver, that's not good.
What sucks is I told one of my friends who needed a running back in fantasy football to pick up Latavius Murray.
Yeah, not the best.
Shout out to Thomas Buse in the chat. He said Adrian Peterson had more yards than our team yesterday. Yeah, he sure did. We're going to talk about AP a little bit later, but yeah, not a good day for us yesterday overall. Not a good day for Trey Waynes either. He left the Vikings 27-6 loss in the first quarter because of an ankle injury. Today, he will have undergone an MRI. We don't know anything yet, but he could potentially miss the game against the Rams due to playing on a short week. I didn't see him limping that hard, but I would suggest, too, that his status is probably questionable unless they just say, hey, don't practice, rest your ankle. We need you for Thursday. But, yeah, he left, and then I think Mike Hughes and Mackenzie Alexander came in to fill in for him.
Yeah.
So – best wishes, speedy recovery to Trey Waynes. We'll tell you. We'll try to post that as soon as we find some news out about the MRI from today. Oh, this is cool. Go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say I tried looking to see if I could find results for the MRI. The best I could find is that he had it at like around 2:00 today. I don't know. I haven't really. I didn't see anything else beyond that. So
no, I haven't seen any results either.
Okay.
Nope.
This is a cool one. I follow this guy on Instagram, and he's really funny. I always like watching 96 Questions when B-Rob was around, and they always seem to talk to him, which is funny. He's kind of a weird guy, but Fadia Odenigbo was claimed by the Arizona Cardinals. He was a former Minnesota Viking, and this is off of the waiver wire. He was recently released from the Browns. The New York Giants also claimed former wide receiver Stacy Coley. If you guys remember, he got released last week. So Afadi Odenigbo is with the Cardinals, and Stacy Coley is with the Giants now. So good luck to them with their respective teams. Until we play those teams, I hope we shut you out. But there you go. And I know we'll play Arizona later, so Afadi, don't get any big ideas, all right?
Oh, man. That's a lock, but, I mean, after this game.
Oh, no. Yeah. Nothing's ever a lock now. Good God.
Our schedule is just that difficult, now. So crazy.
Yeah, we can't – I don't – they talked about that after the game, too. They're like, did you just, not game plan for this team thinking it was a win? And Mike Zimmer's like, are you crazy? Like, of course we didn't do that. But, yeah, Mike Zimmer said it. They kicked our ass. That's all that happened. Can't believe it was this team after their first 2 outings. But we'll talk about the game more. I'll try not to keep going off there. According to Pro Football Focus, Riley Reiff allowed 12 pressures, 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, and 9 hurries on Sunday. Kirk Cousins was pressured on 32 of his 60 dropbacks, the highest total in the league in Week 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the Pro Football Focus numbers here in front of me, and they are pretty disgusting. Riley Reiff gave up 12, Mike Remmers 8, and then it drops down to Brian O'Neill with 4. And what makes it even worse is some of these pass blocking numbers. Mike Boone, the running back, who was forced to fill in at times, a pass blocking grade of 5.2. This is out of 100, guys. This is out of 100.
This is the stuff that the national media was talking about. They said if there's one spot on this team that we're worried about for the Vikings, it's the offensive line, and it showed yesterday.
But it's even more disappointing than a pass blocking grade of 5.2 from Mike Boone.
That Laquan Treadwell was the highest graded blocker yesterday for runs, is that what you said?
No, the pass blocking grade of Kyle Rudolph of 4.4.
Christ.
Out of 100.
God.
Out of 100.
Adam, that means we could put Dorian in the game, and he could practically block that good.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Dorian, you got knocked on your ass 15 times. What happened? I slowed him down.
I got in the way a little bit.
Game where the Vikings really missed. And I know it's weird to say, but David Morgan was severely missed.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And we mentioned too in this bullet. We were talking about Riley Reiff. Everybody was getting worked yesterday, but him especially. But yeah, we had some key players missing. The rushing attack sucked. Dalvin Cook was out. On the opposite side, we didn't feel the pressure from Everson Griffin that he always creates. And then who else do we have out? David Morgan, and who else was out yesterday? Those were the only 3 that were out for the game?
For the offensive line, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going down the list. If there's anybody else that could have contributed. Yeah, that's a great point, man. We underestimate the value that you have with some of these people. Even like you said with Laquan Treadwell, we've been shitting on him the last 2 weeks, but he was in there blocking yesterday, trying to attempt to do something right.
Yeah, run block grade of Laquan Treadwell for 83.7, tops on the team, and it's not even close. There wasn't even a player anywhere near him.
Okay, good for him. No one cares about Laquan Treadwell. Can we move on?
Really? Because I'll give you a little tip here. He might get my game ball.
Uh-oh, there you go.
Whatever. I don't care about Laquan Treadwell.
I respect your honesty, Dorian.
Oh, this is my new favorite bullet here. This has to be a Kyle West bullet. The Arizona Cardinals gave Sam Bradford $20 million so he could start 3 games. They have already named Josh Rosen the starter.
How'd you know I wrote that one?
Because it's got your smart ass, it's got you written all over it, man. That's such a sarcastic bullet. I love it. Oh. I'm telling you that it's the greatest person in NFL history is Sam Bradford's agent.
Right?
Absolutely.
Hands fucking down. This guy's made so much money, and I love Sam. Don't get me wrong. I love everything about Sam Bradford minus his fragile knees. Yeah. But he had 2 picks yesterday, and then same kind of deal with Kirk Cousins where he lost the ball. Khalil Mack pretty much ate him for a sandwich, and then the ball came out. Surprise, surprise. And that was it. That was it for the Sam Bradford era in Arizona. So good luck, Bradford. Is this the last time he's going to be on a team? I feel like this might be the last time he's going to be on a team.
Might be his last time as a starter, but we'll see.
No way. He'll still be in the league for another 5 years as a backup minimum.
He'll be getting $7-8 million a year as a backup somewhere.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll take things I don't understand for 300, please. I don't get it. I feel like we kind of know who Sam Bradford is.
I love the way all these NFL teams, you draft a quarterback so high, you draft him in the first round, and then you bring in this arbitrary other starter that you name your quarterback, and then, oh, by the way, Baker Mayfield is starting, and Josh Rosen is starting, and whoever the Bills quarterback, what's his name? I can't think of it.
Josh Allen?
Josh Allen. That they're starting. All these quarterbacks are starting. You should have just started them week 1. That's why you drafted them.
Here's what I hate.
Thank you.
They say if you're drafted in the first round, you should be NFL ready, right? And they're like, oh, but quarterbacks need an extra year to get ready. Yeah,
that's so dumb.
An offensive tackle doesn't need an extra year to acclimate to the speed and power of NFL defensive ends and linebackers.
Solid point, because I'm on that train that I would rather my quarterback sit for a year. And
cornerbacks should have like 2-3 years. Because it's a completely different game for them.
But I agree with Kyle West, though, just for the fact, okay, you draft this, okay, first round, you know what I'm saying, number 1 draft pick or whatever, first round, quarterback. Okay, bring in a veteran that number 2, you know, to be that, you know, to give the guidance, some advice, you know what I'm saying, on ins and outs. Everybody's going to go through growing pains.
Yeah.
That's natural. So I agree with Kyle West, like, okay,
yeah.
You drafted him. Sam Bradford should have been QB2 from
as long as you aren't worried about crushing your young guy's confidence, I guess.
I worry about the Deshaun Kaiser effect in Cleveland or any Cleveland quarterback within the last decade.
That's Cleveland.
Yeah, just having
Broncos quarterback. I mean, we could go through so many guys that just.
I have a fun stat here for you guys.
I think David Carr actually might have been okay if they didn't throw him to the Wolves.
Yeah,
like they brought up in the chat. Patrick Mahomes is a good example of a quarterback who sat and then came out in year 2 and just like lighting it up on the field.
Yeah, he's looking like a stud right now.
Who knows? Yeah. I mean, it is case by case. There is good examples. Alex Smith is also probably a better option than what people wanted to give him credit for starting.
I got a fun stat because I looked this up earlier talking about Sam Bradford because we were talking about Arizona decided to go with Josh Rosen. So Sam Bradford came in the league in 2010. Kirk Cousins came in 2012. Kirk Cousins has more touchdowns in his career with 2 less years in the league. And the first 2 seasons with the Redskins, he had 8 touchdowns, 4 and 4.
Well, Kirk hasn't missed a game in 3-4 years.
It's very true. Very true. I don't want to hold too much of the injury bug there, but
what was
can't throw touchdowns if he ain't in games.
What was that amazing stat that you pulled up, Adam?
Was it in the chat from this weekend?
Yeah, it was in the chat. It was something about Troy Aikman. Remember we were making fun of Troy Aikman?
Because Patrick is throwing more touchdowns than him.
Yeah, and he tweeted back. Troy Aikman got butthurt because somebody online decided to say, Brian Fitzpatrick has more touchdowns. Like, oh, so what? Like, obviously you cared enough to reply to it.
They put Hall of Famer in quotation marks. Hall of Famer Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman sucks. You heard it here on the Purple Podcast. I'll stand behind that.
I will take a second, though, to say how much I enjoyed having Tony Romo in the announce booth because that made that game watchable.
Enjoyable? Yeah, watchable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I didn't get to hear it. Sorry, I was at a bar and they had other games that were not a blowout and an upset. But, yeah, that was cool. I heard him talking on the way there, watching the pregame show, and I'm happy as hell for that guy. I really am. I bet you they're missing him in Dallas right now.
Oh, yes.
This is one of my favorite comments here in the chat. Art just brought up that we haven't been shut out since 1962, so there's a positive.
Wait, no, that's not true.
Regular season, probably.
41-0 Giants Conference Championship. Come on.
Yeah, but that's playoffs, man.
Oh, God.
No, I count that, too. It's just like Brett Favre said. They're, like, talking about his career total touchdowns. Like, yeah, that's including the playoffs. He's like, well, yeah, I would hope so. God, Adam, why'd you have to bring that up? This is just the most depressing episode that we've been a part of yet.
Hey, they haven't even scored a touchdown in this game, so thank goodness.
That's why you played Johnny Cash at the beginning.
Yeah, you're right.
It's depressing.
All right, North Memorial Health is partnering with the Minnesota Vikings and will sponsor the 5 Mava. What the hell is this word? Mamava?
Yep, Mamava.
Lactation pods. Located throughout U.S. Bank Stadium. So this is for any mothers that are bringing young children to the game.
Need a place to breastfeed your baby. Head on in there.
When you get blown out by the Bills and need to go smoke some pot at halftime, you find one of those things. You go in.
Oh my goodness!
I suggest just hitting the concessions booth and getting a couple beers if you're in that state.
Wow.
Unless you need that lactation booth or pregnant women or sober, avoid that then. But you people that enjoy your alcohol, that's the way to do it. Just make sure to take the shuttle home.
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
We're all about responsibility here, all right? Just so you guys know. Former Vikings defensive back Keith Nord passed away at the age of 61. The special teams ace was an undrafted free agent with the Vikings who played for the team for 7 seasons from 1979 to 1985. Man.
He was one heck of a special teams ace, too.
It just keeps getting worse. God, condolences to Keith Nord's family. Good God.
Oh man. See, this is what we're doing here. Not good. Thomas Beer says 2 beers at the game, $23. There's another hit.
Good God. Are you kidding me? I'll be sober as a bird that day. I'm not doing it. I can go get a case of Natty Light for less than that.
I think with the commemorative cups, I think it's even more if you want to get the cups from the game.
Yeah, but those cups are cool.
I'd do that, but I would have to get a Coke. At least it'll be a little bit cheaper. Good God. Man. For some water beer like Coors Light or something.
Yeah, this is one hell of a downer episode so far.
It is. This is a good one, though. Forbes has the Vikings valued at $2.4 billion. This is 19th among NFL franchises. I know we've mentioned this before
at
some
some
point.
3 beers at U.S. Bank Stadium.
Yeah, this is why it went up from last year. That makes me think of 40-Year-Old Virgin. You know, they're standing there and Paul Rudd's like, it's $9 beer night.
Yeah.
Good Lord, man. That's cool, though. A little bit less than the middle of the pack, but that's cool. For a smaller market, that's pretty good.
Exactly. For a team that doesn't have a massive fan base or a ton of money to throw into investing into even more than they already have with their new stadium, practice facilities, and everything. A lot of the reason why the team is worth as much as it is because the Wilf family in the state of Minnesota have been so willing to invest in the franchise. I believe when the Wilfs bought it, it was less than $1 billion. I think it was around 800,000, I believe, or 8. Yeah, I think it was around 800 million, somewhere in there.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
800,000. Oh wow, we could.
Yeah, I think it was 800 million.
Yeah, that was after the dome collapsed, and they got it on sale.
Bringing up the dome collapse. Let's talk Love Boat and everything else that went wrong with the Vikings.
Let's talk about the Herschel Walker trade today. Let's talk about Troy Williamson and everybody. Let's just do it all.
Kicking puppies. Let's just do it.
I did watch that today.
Gary Anderson.
It's been popping up on my YouTube thing because YouTube will suggest stuff based on what you watch. And I had never watched it, but I watched the story of Aaron Rodgers and the 24 teams that have passed him up, or the 23 or whatever. And
I've seen that video.
The draft board, and there it was, number 7, Troy Williamson.
Vikings passed on him twice, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I think they had the 18th pick too. Swing and a miss, guys. Swing and a miss.
God, wow. We could have had Aaron Rodgers. That's crazy just to think about that now.
Twice. But I digress. This is good. I'm going to spin this into a smart-ass bullet. The Vikings hosted flag football to help the Special Olympics. Mackenzie Alexander, Stephen Weatherly, Eric Kendricks, Pat Elflein, Sheldon Richardson, George Iloka, C.J. Ham, Kevin McDermott, and Brian O'Neill coaching, playing, and during the games. Could have used some help yesterday, guys. Should have got some recruits from that game for how bad we played. But I like that it said flag football because that's kind of where the NFL is going. So I get 2 jabs in 1.
Ooh, hey, Thomas Bugge had a good point here that he just brought up about the Aaron Rodgers joke we just made. The Vikings had just given Dante Culpepper a $7 million contract. So at the time, they probably felt they were set.
Yeah, but the Vikings just threw a ton of money at their running back position, too, when they drafted Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, that was something that was a part of that YouTube video. It's crazy. If you see the thumbnail, it's young Aaron Rodgers and all the logos of the teams around his head. And talk about how the cap has changed from when it was then until now, which is crazy because it's only 11 years, or was it 05? So 13 years ago. And it depended on the cap space. So it was weird. I know it changed in 2010, but they went through that process more in depth. But that's a good point. Good job, Thomas, bringing that up.
It's true. I mean, but it's not like the Packers were hurting for a quarterback either when they took him.
They couldn't pass it up. That was crazy. It was crazy how much he fell for the teams that could have taken him at that point. But we've seen weirder things in the draft. We drafted Christian Ponder 12th overall, for fuck's sake. So I don't really know what to say after that.
Then you got like Erasmus James, players that just never really made that much of an impact.
That's crazy. That's cool, though. I like these last 2 bullets. We're talking about the flag football event to help the Special Olympics. All the players, some key name players there helping out. Love to see the Vikings.
I like seeing the new players on the list. Yeah. Sheldon Richardson just came to the team. George Iloka, a new fresh face. Brian O'Neill, the rookie. These guys are getting instilled in this Minnesota culture of just helping out in the community. I didn't see the piece that they did this year. I missed the playground build, so I don't know if that actually happened this year. I assume it did. It just didn't get a lot of attention, I'm guessing.
We'll have to look that up.
But, the Vikings organization, its players, its coaches, staff, they all do so much for the community. And I like to see that getting passed on to the next Minnesota Vikings that come to the team,
That is an awesome sign, though. I like that. I like our community service.
Absolutely.
That's always absolute positive.
That's across the board here for all four of us. We love what the Vikings do in the community. So that's another cool thing they did. The last quick hit we have, and it kind of ties into that too, Adam Thielen has a foundation, if you guys didn't know, that just came out. And the Thielen Foundation's first major gift, the University of Minnesota Masonic Children's Hospital, was presented with a $100,000 donation for behavioral health unit, which provides inpatient and outpatient services for youth. That's incredible. I love this kid. I'd buy your jersey if I didn't have a superstition and fear that you would tear your ACL. So we'll stick with the throwbacks and the Hall of Famers that really doesn't affect you,
West. Damn you, West, and your theory.
By Kirk Cousins. Don't bring that up on the show.
I'm bringing it up right now. Let me tell you what Kyle West does in the chat.
Yes.
This asshole will say something crazy because we all think it. Because I've said it before. I don't mean to blaspheme. I am a believer in God, but I have a thing to say when I get really mad. Like yesterday, I'm like, I think God hates the Vikings. I really do. For no apparent reason other than we suck and we make bad choices. But Kyle West will jump in and say something just as bad, if may not worse, to some people and be like, well, that's it. We're going down. This season's done. Kirk Cousins ACL injury next week. And we're like, Kyle, stop.
Shut up.
You don't say it out loud. Yeah. So you guys can attack Kyle West for the rest of the show. There you go.
Vikings signed Dan Bailey, kicker Dan Bailey. Oh, he
ACL. Just immediately the ACL.
He had the kicker walking femur in practice first day. Let's go.
Yep. Because that's what happens to the Vikings just every season.
Well, speaking of Dan Bailey and a good little transition, I was going to give him my game ball because Dan Bailey didn't have to kick a field goal or an extra point yesterday. So
Charlie Evans in the chat says at least the Vikings aren't the Browns. Yeah, but they have the same record.
Boy, that's depressing.
Good God! Right now, yeah, the Browns have a better record than the Patriots right now. So there's that.
What's going on? Doesn't that kind of make our loss? I mean, it's still bad, but like
I can't believe the Lions beat the Pats last night. That's a big shocker for me of the weekend.
And look,
it's Bill Belichick. It's Bill Belichick playing a former assistant. I don't care that it was on the road. That to me was the surefire lock of the week. Is like, you're not going to beat Bill Belichick in his own game. And he's like, yeah, well, I'll double team Gronk. What else are you going to do? That's it. That's crazy if you guys didn't know. It was a weird weekend for football.
And they looked good doing it, too. That was the kicker on that. It wasn't close. They looked like Matthew Stafford looked solid, like that whole team, both on the offense and defense. They were solid, man. They did enough to contain Tom Brady, and yeah, man, whatever. Give credit where credit's due. Shout out to Detroit Lions. Oh,
yeah, because they looked like doo-doo the first 2 weeks, but when it came to the opponent of the year, they handled business last night. It wasn't really close.
Oh, God. This is too much.
Well, let's talk about the 27-6 loss yesterday, shall we, guys? Go ahead and get this out of the way.
And donkeys.
It was hard to pick a game ball for this game because we played like absolute dog shit yesterday, but we all picked someone, and right now I see 3 or 4 that are all different. So let's run down the list. Kyle West, fire away.
I'm not picking a Viking for a game ball because none of them deserve it. That was a terrible performance. So I'm picking Adrian Peterson, former Viking, who helped beat the Packers, guys. Come on, he had 120 yards and 2
game ball for the damn game. He's going
This is classic Mr. West. I'm surprised you didn't give it to the referee or some fan in the stands. Or...
No, I'm not giving. Nobody on this team deserves a game ball. Nobody. You can't make a case for a single one of them. No, you can't.
Absolutely, I am. And I'll tell you right now, Adam Thielen's getting it because 3 weeks in a row, he's went for over 100 yards. That was a boo-boo bullshit game yesterday, and Adam Thielen's still showing up to play. I can't help that the offensive line can't protect the quarterback, and he can hold on to the ball when he's not being protected. But I don't even want to talk about the defense, but we have to. But Adam Thielen, 3 weeks in a row, over 100 yards. This kid is a freaking stud. So that was the one and only highlight for me yesterday. I can't even give it to Kirk Cousins because he lost a damn ball 3 times.
I wrote down my decoy game ball, which was going to be Matt Weil for that nice 70-yard punt, but now I've got to go Laquan Treadwell. I do that run blocking grade, and along with catching all 4 of his targets for 33 yards.
What a game for him to come out and catch ball.
This was a redemption game for Laquan Treadwell. He came out and he played his heart out, man. He did everything that was asked of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at it here. So he was 4th on the team for receptions, 4 for 4 and 33. Yeah, not terrible. Not the game to do it, but hey, you know, maybe it'll keep happening. I don't know.
They were blaming his performance last week on a dislocated finger. I don't know how accurate that is, or you know, it didn't seem to have much of an impact on this game because he even had a couple passes where he had to reach up or out because Kirk Cousins was a little off the mark as well with his throws. So Treadwell made some nice adjustments, made some catches. He's got my game ball.
I like it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, Laquan Treadwell. We're still talking about the guy?
Yeah. Okay. Only because you love him so much. That's why we're going to keep talking about him.
Whatever. I'm going to piggyback off you, Mr. Smith, Adam Thielen. And pretty much you laid everything out. 3 straight games, you know, over 100 yards receiving. I love the guy, and that was the only positive that I took out of this game as well. So there's nothing more I can really add to that. So game ball, Adam Thielen.
Thielen averaging 7.5 yards per catch for this game. Laquan Treadwell 8.3. Just saying.
What the
hell? We could do this all day too. CJ Ham 9.4 average, 5 of 6 for 47. Kyle Rudolph 9.6. Eldrick Robinson caught 1 for 1 for 9 yards, 9.0.
I loved what I saw from CJ Ham in this game. He was fighting.
Absolutely. There was 2 plays I remember him specifically, and one was on the sideline where he should have been out and it should have been a 4-yard gain, and he converted for a first down.
The one pass he didn't haul in was played so well by the defense that he didn't even have a chance.
He's a fullback. I give him a pass.
That's why when you got a fullback who caught every pass that I think was catchable, according to the past defense, you can't ask for much more. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Could ask for a win.
Well, if you're putting the fate of your game on CJ Ham's back, I don't know.
When you play like we did yesterday, we don't even deserve to be in that nice new stadium. That was embarrassing.
I felt bad for the fans that paid to be there.
You know what's crazy too, and I want to talk about it. I'll just do it now because I'm thinking about it. We talk shit about this team because we have a 2-game sample of this season. This is a playoff team from a year ago. Now I'm talking about Tyrod Taylor.
We're still a playoff team. We're fine.
No, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about them.
Oh, okay.
The Bills made the playoffs for the first time ever. It's not like their defense in 15 years? 15 years of drought. We're taking this team lightly because they have a rookie quarterback. Nathan Peterman was awful again. I don't know why he's still around, but they started a rookie quarterback. And 6 quarters of his career played thus far. We slept on this defense, and they took advantage. I don't know if you guys saw this, and it kind of pissed me off. They gave the game ball to Leslie Frazier because he's the D coordinator over there. And I was like, you son of a bitch.
it was his revenge game against the Vikings, too.
I guess it was. And I told Kyle yesterday.
That's a valid point I haven't seen a lot of people bring up on social media.
It was the first game that Thomas Bugge brought his dad to.
Goo.
Ouch.
Oh, sorry, Thomas. Go back. It won't be that bad all the time, I promise. And I told Kyle this yesterday. I don't know if I put it in the chat. Maybe it was just to Kyle. But since Mike Zimmer got here with that first season with 7-9 and drafted Teddy Bridgewater, he's 0-2 against the Bills. Mm-hmm. Not the stat that I thought I'd see. That is not what I thought would happen. That's kind of crazy, but we'll see. We don't play them that often, but
winless against the Lions at US Bank Stadium as well. I don't get it.
They have some weird aberrations that happen from time to time, and this is one of them.
You go into Green Bay last year with a backup and shut out the Packers, but you can't beat the Lions at home, and you're 0-2 against the Bills. Like, I don't get it.
It happens, guys.
Charlie Evans in the chat says, I miss Bridgewater, but isn't it really weird to see Dan Bailey wearing that number 5? I mean, I know that Teddy Bridgewater isn't any major star. He's not going to get any number retired or any silly stuff like that. But I got so used to seeing Teddy in that number 5 that seeing it on Dan Bailey just feels weird.
I don't care. As long as it's not number 7 or number 3, we're good.
Yeah, the Vikings need to retire number 7.
Absolutely
number 7 is cursed. No, number 7 is cursed.
Yeah, get that 7 out of there.
I don't want him wearing Blair Walsh's number either. Fuck that guy.
Put those on the sideline.
On on a side note, you guys, we need to cut Kirk Cousins, and we should have never signed him after this game. We should have kept Case Keenum, because Case Keenum would have single-handedly won this game for us yesterday.
That's all I saw on the internet yesterday, dude. That was so stupid. Oh, that's a good use of that $84 million. I'm like, you don't know football. It's like Parks and Rec when Ron Swanson's in Lowe's and the employee walks up to him. He's like, can I help you? He's like, I know more than you, and just walks away. I'm just going to start doing that with everybody. I'm going to post that meme on there. It's like, I know more than you. Please shut up.
I love it.
God. All right, let's give away some donkeys. I'm going to jump in first and give mine to Mike Hughes. I know that a lot of people are going to pick Anthony Barr or whoever else. You can pick a lot of people because the game was awful yesterday, especially on the defensive side. But Mike Hughes got picked on yesterday when he had to step in for Trey Waynes. And not only that, Mike, we are team touchback here in Minnesota. Stop taking the fucking ball out and just take a knee, man. Holy crap. I know it'll only be 4, 5, 6 yards back, but that every yard counted yesterday. When we were starting back in the at the 17, 18, and we could have started on the 25. I'm sorry, that bothers the hell out of me. But even in coverage, I know he had a touchdown surrendered at some point. I can't remember which one, but just Mike Hughes looked like a rookie yesterday, and I didn't like what I saw, and I understand that he's not the starter, but I didn't like his game there, and I didn't like it on special teams.
Can I split my donkey?
You do whatever you want. Kyle West didn't even give it to a Viking player.
I'm going to split my donkey between Anthony Barr and the refs.
Yeah.
I'm going based off, like the first quarter alone, like the refs had Anthony Barr kind of like, well, I don't know what to do, how to handle, like, it was like to the point like Anthony Barr was like Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights, like, I don't know what to do with my hands right now. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're not wrong. It did look like
but he got called, a couple penalty calls. It was stupid, and that killed our momentum from start. So that's why Anthony Barr, my donkey.
Yeah, Anthony Barr just had a rough game. He was getting stiff-armed by rookie quarterbacks. He got jumped over.
He got postered yesterday.
He got postered so many times.
Oh, and not a good case for a guy who needs to get an extension or a new contract.
It's not like he was out of position either. He was in position to make plays. He just could not bring down the quarterback. Couldn't do it.
To Josh Allen's credit, that is a big dude. That is a big dude. Now, I didn't expect him to jump over, what's Anthony Barr, like 6'4", 6'5"? Like, he's a tall guy, but I didn't expect him to hurdle over him. But as far as running, Josh Allen's a big mofo. So, what do you do there?
When you gave your donkey to Mike Hughes struggled mightily, according to Pro Football Focus, a coverage grade of 29.4, lowest on the team.
That's my fear for this Thursday game, too, previewing the Rams. We go on the road to the Rams, and I have a fear Sean McVay is going to say, Trey Waynes is not healthy. You will pick on Mackenzie Alexander, or you will pick on Mike Hughes.
Well, here's something to make you feel a little bit better. The second best player in coverage against the Bills was Mackenzie Alexander at 71.
Okay, good. Whew.
Number 1 was Harrison Smith.
Shocker.
It's funny that you say Mackenzie Alexander, because I found a stat on Twitter, and this is why I was giving him my my donkey for the week, was that he has allowed a completion every time he's been targeted for 88 yards. That's a 14.7 per catch, and QBs have a rating of 118.8 when targeting him this season. So it's interesting how you can see like two sides of a coin on a player. Like, you know what I mean?
He's not a bad corner either. I just think we're not going to throw the ball near Rhodes because he has good coverage. He's long, he's rangy, he's very physical, but they will pick on the opposite of Xavier Rhodes. They don't care who it is. And that's what scares me for the game coming up. Not to mention the Rams D-line, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
The Rams have so many pieces to be afraid of. Their receiving core is crazy.
So we got mine. We have Dorian's. We have Kyle's. Adam, who's your donkey going to?
Oh, it already got touched on. Mine was Barr for all those poster moments. And I felt like the moment of the game was definitely when Barr got hurdled. That was just disgusting to the point where it shouldn't even happen.
Yeah, we started this. If you guys didn't know, we're going to do moment of the game, the play of the game, rather. And this is, I talked about this week one. I was like, there's going to be a loss and we're not going to want to pick something. But here we are.
Little did we know.
Later, last week we're talking about, Kirk Cousins in the sack. Was it a sack? Was it or the roughing the passer? Blah, 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 blah. Now we're talking about this loss. The turn of the game for me, the play of the game was when Cousins fumbled the ball the second time. I'm not talking about the interception. I think this was about something minutes in. Let me go to the play.
When Jerry Hughes went around Riley Rafe.
Dear God, this was 7:24. So this is the 3rd and 8 at the Minnesota 27. Yes, and it was recovered by Milano, but Jerry Hughes, is that his name? Jerry Hughes?
Yeah,
he had a monster game against us yesterday. There was no answer
for him.
This was 6 minutes and 4 left in the first quarter, and this ended up leading up to the Bills being 17 points in the first quarter. That to me was a big point. I mean, you can talk about the interception that came out of Latavius Murray's hand. You can talk about other stuff, that posterizing moment. But good God, man, when he went down again, I was like, dude, who's going to come help chip and block for these guys? Because the offensive line got worked yesterday.
There was a moment for me early on defense where the Vikings should have had a stop on 3rd down, and I think it was Linval Joseph who got flagged for a helmet-to-helmet penalty, and that re-kickstarted the drive. And from that point on, it seemed like the Vikings were just out of sync. From that,
the turnovers early on offensive drives that just gave Buffalo too good a field position right away.
Yeah, those are momentum killers too.
Those are super tough.
And that carries over to defense. I really think so as well, too.
Oh, absolutely.
I think so, too, because even Josh Allen had 2 rushing touchdowns. One was at the goal line, albeit, but the other one where I think it was the first score of the game, he ran to his left and he went all the way to the corner of the pylon. How deflated can you feel? And then there's busted coverages. We keep seeing this, and this is the thing that pisses me off the most. We saw this in the San Francisco game. I don't count Aaron Rodgers because he's football Jesus and he does what he does. But in the San Francisco game and this game, it's the middle of the field. We keep getting stuff broken down, and I believe they were in the red zone or close to it. But the passing touchdown he had, it was broken coverage.
Oh, it was wide open.
What the hell, man?
But that play was designed so well because they ran it so many times with that screen that the Vikings were like, "Oh, it's that screen again." They started running out there. Nope.
Man, that scares me.
And our tackling isn't all that good as well, you guys. Like, that's a concern for me, And that was actually from week 1. Like, our defense showed up, but we missed tackles where we should have, bam, that cost us yards.
Well, 4 players on the Vikings had tackling grades of under 50 during this game, according to Pro Football Focus. Danielle Hunter, Mike Hughes, Linval Joseph, and Andrew Sendejo.
That's disgusting.
Pretty sickening.
That's not characteristic. That's his whole game, which is uncharacteristic.
What was good, though, was at the top of the list is Eric Kendricks, who you can rely on him to make tackles pretty much any time that he has an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Sendejo's tackle number is always going to be kind of low because he is going to be looking for those hits.
Yeah.
He's not going to wrap up. He's going to missile into people. So his tackle numbers will always be a little low.
I respect him for trying to make the hits, but I also would like the drive to stop if it's possible.
Right.
So that's my man, though. I love Andrew Sendejo, and I love how we picked on it earlier about to make football violent again. And then he gets a freaking $50,000 plus fine.
I got a quick Andrew Sendejo story for you.
Let's hear it.
Go for it.
So I was meeting up with him at the first signing that I ever went to in Minnesota when he was at a coffee shop at Caribou. And there was a woman in there, and she was getting something signed for her son. She didn't know who he was. He had a card on him that he signed and gave her. And they asked her, he said, "Do you know who I am?" And she said, "Not really." It's like, he said, "My name's Andrew Sendejo. Try to spell Sendejo for me." And oh my goodness, that was a lot of fun because she was not close at all. And anytime, like, even you see Vikings fans, right? Sendejo, it's not right probably 3/4 of the time.
It's okay. It's Sndjeo, right?
Sendejo.
D-E. There you go.
I had to like read it on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But I thought that was so much fun.
That's pretty cool. I like when people can poke fun. Like, I know it's not really poking fun, but it kind of is. Just you turn something that could be annoying into something fun for everybody else. I'd like to meet the guy. Just because he's a silver fox like myself. Like all the gray patches too, man. My dude. So I'm scrolling through to find our social media question. We don't have to do it right now, but this is the thing that Kyle West.
I'm talking about the game.
Well, I want to go through the stats a little bit, but I want to read this off because we didn't throw this in the notes. But going in, we signed Dane Bailey last week, and that was the talk of the town. He was 22 of 22 during field goals and extra points in practice, and this was posted on the 21st. So for you guys out there, let's keep this train rolling, all right? I can't wait to see what Dan Bailey does. I cannot freaking believe he didn't get used once yesterday for field goals.
Onside kick.
I mean, the onside kick.
That onside kick was nice.
Beautiful.
Hey, onside kicks are really difficult to get him to bounce the correct way, and he did a really good job. It's too bad we couldn't recover it, but that's not
Scott's
his fault.
Adventure called your split donkey there, Mr. Foley, a camel.
Oh, touche.
Well played.
Touche.
Well played.
Scott, that was awesome. Shout out to Scott for that. Thank you. All right, never mind. I'm not doing the social media question because it was from last week. So we will ask something related to this game because I know there's a lot of pissed off fans. We'll ask something related to this game for this week going into the next show. Let's talk about this real quick. There's not really a lot to talk about for the box score. Josh Allen played like a freaking pro. 111 rating. 1 touchdown, no picks, 15 to 22. QBR of 89.4. Let me talk about Kirk Cousins for a second. Holy shit. 55 passing attempts yesterday.
Oh, I have an update on Everson Griffin.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't mean to update, but this is interesting. He missed Sunday's game. He was ruled out on Friday with a knee injury. Oh, that's the only update. A knee injury. So there you go.
Yeah,
no update on
report for a knee injury.
Yeah, on what the personal reason was, no update on that.
Okay, cool. I was like, oh god, something broke out. If you
know, well, it was a long tweet, and I thought it was going to be more substantial than that.
There it was. The clickbait got you again. Yeah. We talked about it earlier. I hate that stuff. Talk about Kirk Cousins throwing 55 times. Remember when we had Josh Freeman for like a week? Isn't it always the times when you have to throw for like 50, 60 times in a game? It's usually never a good thing, and they never win. It's never a good rating. Kirk Cousins had a quarterback rating of 10. Overall rating of 83.6. 296, 40 of 55 on attempts, and he got 4 sacks for 18 yards lost. This was an awful day for him. And a lot of things that I saw online, people were trashing him for fumbling. Like, I get that you want to hold on to the ball, but when you don't see that a defensive lineman or a defensive end is coming around to take your head off, I don't know how you prep for that. Especially when you're in a winding motion to throw. That's not possible. I don't know. The running and taking off and then getting it coming out, I'm sure he could probably fix that. But I don't put a lot of the blame on this game with Kirk Cousins, even though he manned up and owned it in the press conference. So good for him.
Yeah, Kirk wasn't on top of his game. Nope. He had some targets that were open that he missed. Mm-hmm. But again, a lot of that was because he was sensing a lot of pressure around him. The Bills' defensive line is absolutely underrated, and they can use that ability to bring in rushers, and it absolutely just ate them up from both sides.
This stat,
it's not a shocker that he had a QBR of 10.
The stat here that's crazy, and we talked about it earlier, we mentioned 6 attempts is the lowest ever in NFL history for a game. 14 yards. We're pretty much known, even though AP has been gone for a couple of years, to be a rushing team, at least to have a decent running attack. We were outplayed 128 yards to 14. 38 carries on the team. 10 of those came from the quarterback scrambling. But, 38 carries or attempts in rushing versus our 6. That has got to change Thursday night for sure.
It's weird because early on in that game, it felt like the Vikings couldn't stop Chris Ivory, but his 20 rushes were only 56 yards. And his longest run was only 7. So he didn't do the damage that I felt like he was during that game.
Right. It felt like Chris Ivory was like the second coming of Adrian Peterson from like back in the day,
Yeah, it felt like he was doing a ton more damage, probably just because we just wanted it to get stopped so much before it actually happened.
Yep, absolutely. Josh Allen, 10 carries, 39 yards, 2 touchdowns. Marcus Murphy, never heard of that guy before yesterday. 8 carries, 33 yards, 4.1 average. So they did a lot yesterday on the ground, even though we did absolutely nothing. That came into effect. We'll get to the turnovers in a second because that's the main reason why. As far as receiving, we had one more receiver than they did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Buffalo's 8. Just not a lot there. 196 yards. Chris Ivory, the leading receiver, 3 for 70, 4 targets. For us, Adam Thielen, 14 of 19. We noticed Stephon Diggs came out. He got a little shook up partially in the game, and then it just seemed like the ball was going to Adam Thielen no matter what. After
19 throws to Thielen. That's crazy.
That's insane. And he caught 14 of them, which is even crazier to me. 105 yards, longest of 19. Kyle Rudolph and C.J. Ham were second with 5 receptions each on 6 targets each, 48 and 47. Laquan Treadwell, we mentioned, 4 of 4 for 33. Latavius Murray, 5 of 7 for 30. And then we go down the list. Diggs, Robinson, Conklin.
Diggs only hauling in 4 of 10 targets is not like him whatsoever, especially for 17 yards. When Diggs gets 10 footballs thrown his way and he only has 17 yards on the day, that's not right.
I'll give it credit because the couple of the shining spots that I know, because even LaShawn McCoy didn't play yesterday, if that's why you were wondering about the rushing stats. He didn't play. He had a rib injury from the week before. But
no Cook sure makes it look weird.
Yeah, that is weird. I didn't think about that either. The weird part of it, too, is, we talked about the D-line so much, but the corner that was covering Stephon Diggs, all-pro corner. I believe he's a Pro Bowler. He's very, very good, and he made Stephon Diggs uncomfortable. It was a lot of short passes to Stephon Diggs yesterday, and yeah, it was weird. Like you said, it was out of character for Stephon not to catch more of those balls. 3 fumbles from Buffalo. All three were from Josh Allen. They recovered 2. That's really weird. It says they only recovered 2, but there were 3 fumbles. For us, Mike Hughes lost a fumble, and Kirk Cousins lost 3. Fumbled 3 times, lost 2. That's weird. I don't understand these stats because we lost all these. I'm pretty positive.
No, Mike Hughes got his back.
Okay, cool.
And the Vikings recovered 1 of their own, so it was only 2 fumbles that were lost of Cousins' 3.
All right, let's keep going down the list. Let's talk about the Minnesota defense. This is
where I wanted to cap things off a little bit because
Go ahead.
Everson Griffin was gone, and his presence is usually such a powerful thing. But in his absence, Stephen Weatherly and Tashawn Bauer put together really good games. Weatherly came out, led the team in tackling, tied with Kendricks and Barr, with 7 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 sack. And then on the other hand, you've got Tashawn Bauer with 6 tackles, 4 solo. So it's not like they came in the game and we saw a massive dip when it came to quality. This is a major testament to the depth that the Vikings organization has to offer at defensive end.
It was just a tough situation for guys like that to try to make an impact on the game because it got so out of hand and so out of control so fast for the team. And it makes it difficult as fans, too, to try to focus on positive stats like what you just brought up there, Adam.
Who keeps doing the Friday the 13th stuff?
That's my phone notification because someone's lighting up the Purple People podcast chat.
Oh, I'm talking to Kyle. We're going to take care of it. No worries. My bad. I was like, good God, I'm not hearing stuff, right? Yeah, you hit on Stephen Weatherly, Eric Kendricks, 7 total, 5 solo. Anthony Barr, weird to say, 7 total tackles. I don't know how many he missed. All the backups stepping up to Sean Bauer, Limble Joseph, Daniil Hunter, Harrison Smith, Anderson Dale. We can go down the list there. Yeah, that was – I don't even know what to say for the defense yesterday, man. They looked lifeless. They looked out of place. They looked they were all around beat. And it was weird because if I think about Buffalo, I think about defense more than offense because I'm not expecting Josh Allen to come in and play awesome. I talked a bunch of crap about this kid coming out of college because he was in a smaller school. His completion percentage was trash, but he definitely came in and all the credit goes to them because they made us look pretty bad yesterday.
We got a question in the chat from Adam Andreas who says,
it's a good one.
What do you guys think about the ref calls / no calls, like the hit on Stephon Diggs when he was out of bounds and then getting taunted and like not getting a call at all for both the hit and the taunting?
Adam Andreas, I think these refs are a complete fucking joke, if you really want to know my opinion. And I don't care how bad that it makes me sound, and I'm sorry for swearing if you have kids listening to the show, but this season, and I know the NFL is going to be a juggernaut. They're going to win the TV ratings every time, but they're going to take a massive hit because of stuff like Clay Matthews doing a clean form tackle, not taking people out, and then finding them and hitting them all that. It's become atrocious. And then that's just on the quarterback. When we're talking about other stuff like this, I thought Stephon Diggs had a concussion yesterday. And I know it was part of the game, but
his head bounced off the turf. And
he landed backwards and the back of his head hit. But it was weird because
he's not a quarterback, so they don't care.
Right.
There's Richard Sherman went after the NFL about that today, saying that they don't care about anything but player safety unless it's a quarterback. They don't care about any other players. And I agree with you. I don't think that they called stuff there, and I think there were I won't say that they – because we definitely lost this game yesterday, but that's not going to make or break the game. But it needs to be evenly distributed, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion on it. I think they're total fucking idiots, to be honest with you. And I don't know who that guy was yesterday, but I think Dorian or somebody else hit on it. Yeah, it was partially your game ball, your donkey. This guy looked confused as to what he's supposed to be doing out there. Bro, you got one job. One job, and it's once a week. I know you're at practices and all that stuff during the week for other teams, but do your job.
Well, I want to say this ref is one of the new ones that were brought in this season. I think the head ref.
He was. They had mentioned that on the telecast.
So he's just trying to call things as down the line as he can. And if anything's questionable, he's going to call it. And sometimes those are the worst referees that you can get.
You know, Shannon Sharp was talking about this. I like listening to Shannon Sharp. I think he's entertaining.
You're alone on that one, man.
He was talking about Clay Matthews and, you know, the kind of the stuff going on with him. And he was like, you don't have to like this rule that the NFL has put out, and he doesn't like this rule. I don't think any of us do. But this is the rule that the NFL has put out about the quarterbacks. And so if it says that that's a flag, you can all hate it, but the referees do have to do what the league has instructed them to do. Mm-hmm. And if they say throw a flag over that penalty, you have to throw a flag over that penalty.
Yep.
That's part of my bold statement today too. The NFL has a rule problem, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed. They put
themselves in this position.
It's a never-ending cycle. It's always something with this league and this game. It is always something. Whether they fumble a domestic violence issue, they're too strict about marijuana use, but don't care if you beat the hell out of your wife. Then we don't know what a catch is. We think we fixed that. Now we don't know what a tackle is. They need to get their shit together. I'm sorry. There's a lot of stuff that we could have we could have gotten better, but I didn't like that yesterday. I thought that there was a little bit of extra stuff on the field. But hey, that's a good question in the chat. We really do appreciate it.
Felt that you could feed into that one pretty well.
So going down, we're going to finish up the stats. We had no interceptions. Buffalo had one. It was a weird thing from Latavius Murray getting lit up. The ball literally fell into the guy's lap.
Popped right up in the air, and then he kicked it to himself. I mean, that's just stupid stuff that happens.
It was weird.
When the ball bounces away, it bounces away.
Buffalo had no kick returns. We had 4. Mike Hughes took 3 for 61, averaging 20.
Take the knee.
Averaging 20, Mike. You can get 25 for free. Just saying. Aldrick Robinson, 1 for 21. Punt returns, Mike Hughes, 1 for nothing. Ray McLeod, 1 for 13. Kicking, we had nothing. There was no Dan Bailey yesterday.
Hey, you can't miss if you don't kick.
Correct.
He was good on his kickoffs, though, and that onside looked good.
The onside kick was the highlight of the day for special teams for me. I mean, that was absolutely beautiful. And you could see with the kickoffs, they had no kick returns. He's got some legs still. He's only 30. That was a big concern coming from Dallas as he had a groin injury last year. So everything looks to be A-OK, which is nice. Buffalo's kicking Steven Hauschka. Forgot he was in Buffalo. 2 for 2 on his field goals. Punting, they were good there. I don't want to talk about their punter. Matt Weil, 5 punts, 259, average of 51.8 and long of 70, which is almost going to get Adams game ball because
that was nice.
People too.
Punters do deserve some love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Dorian's just like, okay.
Awesome. So that was a terrible game. It was a trap game. It's typical of the Vikings to go out and just lose this game so bad. I don't even know where to go for that. But we're on to LA. We're just gonna take the Patriots mantra and just move along.
Short week, got to do it. Got to burn that game tape and move on.
Mike Zimmer was not a jerk in his press conference. I was very sad. He was pretty pissed, but he handled it very well. I don't know. I wonder what he said to the players, but he just said, "Hey, look, they came out and beat the crap out of us. I don't know what to tell you."
I don't think Mike Zimmer gets enough credit for, he wants to yell, but he doesn't. He doesn't, and he keeps it really. Yeah, I think he does a good job of being professional with the media and just like.
Well, Kyle,
you've all seen him. You've seen him on Hard Knocks with when he was with Cincinnati. You know what Mike Zimmer is thinking, but he doesn't do it and he doesn't say it. And I think we should commend him for that.
I got a question for you, Kyle.
I have a question after his question.
If you deal with Chris Thomason every single week, multiple times, would you want to yell too?
Yes.
I hate Chris Thomason so much.
Do you think Mike Zimmer actually calls Dan Bailey by his name?
No, I don't. I think he calls him the kicker. I don't think he. Mike Zimmer does not like special teams.
No,
I don't think he probably knows the name. Well, probably the kicker because we just signed him. But the punter, you don't know who the punter is. You don't know who the long snapper is.
He never uses their names ever.
Hey, that happened too earlier last week after the Green Bay game. When we released Daniel Carlson, that was on the Levitard show for the funny sounds. The useless sound montage. And they open up. I told you about this last week. They're on in Minnesota now, so you can hear Levitard every day live. And he's talking about they're talking about how savage Mike Zimmer was on the national show. And then it's like, what's the funniest sound from the sports weekend? It's like, why did you release the kicker? Did you see the game? Was it hard or was it easy? That was pretty easy.
Classic.
Oh my goodness.
Evan Allaire in the chat wants to know what we think about the concession stand food quality at Vikings games.
I would not know.
I can say that the chicken tenders are quite delicious.
There you go. He said Evan asked
for like $100 a tender.
Dorian, I love you.
Scott Schwab in the chat says, I've heard some people on Twitter asking for the firing of Mike Prefer. I do not agree. He's a respected league-wide. This was a team loss. The problem is that Prefer's special team struggles have kind of been going on a lot longer than just this one game or just this one season. They've been kind of eroding for a while, and the Vikings have been making kind of a trend of eliminating some of their better special teams players to add more talent on the defensive line or at the skill positions. And it's really kind of paid its toll over the years. Even guys like Red Ellison, who weren't big in Minnesota, were good contributors on special teams. Guys like Blake Bell, who was also very good on special teams, gone. I think that the role of a special teams contributor gets really lost in the shuffle these days, and they need to be valued a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of that, too, you named a bunch of the guys that are in coverage for, let's say, kickoffs or punt returns and stuff. I'm going more on just the kick returner, the punt returner, and the kicker. I'll go with you on that. I didn't think about it now, but let's jump into it a little bit. The last time this unit was actually worth a shit was probably 2015. Before the Blair Walsh miss in the playoffs, obviously, because we had Cordero running stuff back.
And Cordero was the special teams player of the week for Pro Football Focus this week.
There you go. And he was an excellent gunner when we were coming back for coverage. And until Blair missed that and everybody wanted to kill him, he was a good kicker. So,
and but also
it's been like patchwork since then.
We also have players like Adam Thielen, who were out there early on in his career on special teams, that is no longer playing that because Adam he's a big part of the offense. So look at that talent that the Vikings had for a while, where they just had, they had talented guys just playing special teams.
I think if anybody's going to go soon, it's going to be Prefer.
If the seat's not hot, it's starting to warm up and it's getting there. We'll see what happens throughout the course of the season. If it continues to be an issue, Mike Zimmer will change it.
Well, one of the biggest things the Vikings have to do this offseason with their coaching is they have to get things figured out for the offensive line coach. The passing of Sperano was a massive thing that I don't think fans can really understand how much of an impact he had when it came to creating unique pass protection, drawing up stunts on run plays and things like that. I believe he left the Vikings in as well of hands as he could before he was gone, passing on as much knowledge as he can. But there's no replacing a man who can really do the things that he can do with an offense. And I wish we could have seen the things that he and DiFilippo could have drawn together and worked together with the personnel they had. So to me, it's a little bit of a sad thing to be talking about coaching changes, because I feel like that's kind of a sour note.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're telling the truth, man. I mean, you're spot on, man.
I think we're set. Obviously, Flip is doing an okay job. Yesterday was I don't know, man.
How many depressing things can we talk about this week? God.
Yeah. We've covered 2 deaths in the show, a blowout loss. Yeah. But yeah, I think Flip's okay. I don't think George Edwards is going anywhere unless he's going to be going for a head coaching job of some sort. But I think, like Kyle was talking about it, it's a good point brought up. Good points by Adam. Good points in the chat. If there's one person that's looking to be relocated, it's probably going to be Mike Prefer. And now that we actually think about it, like stopping to take a moment to think, it's been kind of patchwork since then. Well, Blair Walsh is gone. Well, let's go find somebody who won't miss as many kicks. And then we kick him out for a rookie that had a job for 2 weeks. And then I don't know, man.
Yeah, who takes the blame for that one? I mean, Rick Spielman's not going anywhere. I know people don't like him, but he's just not. Who do you place?
More 5th-round picks.
Yeah, who do you place? But I mean,
did there.
Who do you place the blame on for that kicker pick?
Daniel Carlson.
Is Mike Prefer? Is he gonna be the fall guy a little bit?
The crazy thing is that Carlson had the tools to succeed. He played at a big college. He's made clutch kicks. He was perfect on his extra points in college. He had some really booming kicks. Most of his misses at the college level were blocked kicks. He had the track record for success, but there are those players that just don't adjust to the NFL well, and he seemingly is one of them. Mm-hmm. Maybe he needed a little bit more time and confidence to go around the league. Maybe he needed a spot on a practice squad where he could hone his skills. But right now, it was just sad to see that he was unable to make it. And then the Vikings changed their punter right before the season started, too, at final cuts.
I think that has a little something to do with all this, too. I really do.
Punter holder there. Kevin McDermott is the only guy holding down the real special teams core right now. You've got Marcus Sherrills, who, when he's healthy, he's a fantastic special teams player, but you need more players that can go out there and do great things on special teams.
Mm-hmm. Tom Johnson on special teams coverage, I'm telling you.
But the Vikings are in a really bad spot right now, too, with the salary cap, because they did go out and sign Tom Johnson. They had to pay to bring in a new kicker. Mm-hmm. And the fact that I believe they only have, I think it's $180,000 left on their salary cap for the season.
Hope nobody gets injured.
So if people end up getting injured, they're going to have to bring in, whether it's a new rookie or someone on a minimum. It can't be a veteran.
We're going to get knocks on our doors. Hey, you want to play some football?
So I hope that the Vikings scouting department's got plenty of people on tape that they can say, hey, maybe these guys can make things work.
It's crazy, too, because we got Kirk Cousins in the offseason. We got Sheldon Richardson. We had a decent draft. Everything seems to line up, and now we're starting to see little trickle effects of stuff that might have not worked out like we thought or weren't what we thought when we initially saw them, and now they're starting to seep in. That sucks. We were high on a lot of stuff coming into the season, and now some of them we're seeing the soft spots in it, the kink in the armor, as they say. So I don't know.
Speaking of high, that's what I want to do right now, talking about this game and just –
are you going?
Are
you still heading to LA?
Are you going, Dorian?
Maybe. It was a yes to a maybe.
Oh no, downgraded.
I haven't heard from my cousin. He was the one that got the tickets and stuff. I haven't heard from him yet. He recently got a new job, which is good for him. Great, got some money coming in, income coming in. But yeah, I haven't heard from him, so I'm a question mark. But I'll definitely let you guys.
Dorian's cousin, get your shit together. Let this guy go. Come on, man. There you go.
We need the podcast represented because the Vikings do well when the podcast is in attendance.
Correct.
All right. Well, maybe I'll go live or something. I don't know. We'll talk about it. If it's for sure I'm going, then yeah, we'll definitely.
Absolutely. And this is a good segue to transition. We're talking about the Thursday night game. The Vikings are in prime time this week. 3 days from now, they go to Los Angeles and take on the LA Rams. This is my number one team in football. I don't care what anybody says about the Chiefs. We started 5-0 2 years ago, and then we went 8-8. So Andy Reid will eventually fizzle out. He always does. But Sean McVay and the Rams are legit. Holy crap. They are good, and they are good everywhere. And I'm not just talking offense and defense, too. They have Legatron. They've got a great punter. This is going to be a hard game to come out with a win. It would be typical Vikings move to lose to the Bills at home and go on the road and beat the shit out of the Rams.
On a short week, on a Thursday night game,
I would not
another time zone. Yeah.
I would not be shocked at all. But when we all looked at the schedule, I know that none of us were going to say an automatic for any game. But I guarantee you, all of us looked at that Buffalo game and we were like, that's a win.
I admit, I looked at Buffalo, I looked at Arizona, I looked at the Jets, and I thought, okay, all right. I also looked at Miami, but Miami's doing real well too, so who knows?
They'll fade too. I'm calling it now. Book it, run it up, bet the ranch on it. They're not doing anything. But talking about the Rams, important note because we have it here to let you know, they acquired Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters in the offseason. 2 all-pro corners at some point in their career. They were very good. They are ruled out for Thursday's game. Marcus Peters was seriously injured. Couldn't stabilize and put any weight on his ankle. I knew he was going to probably be out for the game. But in the notes here, I'm seeing something about Aqib Talib too. I didn't know he was out too. That's kind of a game changer. Because if they can hold up the line, which I'm sure they're going to have a little bit of a meeting today and tomorrow about how shitty the offensive line was, and you got to worry about Sue and Aaron Donald coming up, there's going to be some extra protection for Kirk and everybody. But now that they're going to have backup corners in, that does change the game a little bit. So I just want to know, I'm not questioning anybody here and their knowledge on who's out, but when did it get confirmed? Because I didn't see – I watched part of that Rams game. I didn't know that Talib was hurt too.
This is my first time hearing about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw last night I think it was like the post game of the Lions Patriots game, and they mentioned that both Peters and Talib were both hurt, but I didn't hear any confirmation that you just gave that both of them will be out. Now that's news to me, and wow, it is a game changer.
You still got to be concerned about so many pieces of that.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about the offense.
Yeah.
Good God, man. And they're making, and I don't want to say compare them to the Pats because the Pats have done Pats things for forever, but you don't really think of, minus Brandon Cooks, I don't think of Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp as like all-star wide receivers. These are all, great guys. Good God, man. These guys are doing great for them. And then you got the deep threat. And, oh, by the way, they got Todd freaking Gurley at running back too. My number one fantasy pick, by the way. Smart decision there. Whew.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, this is a complete team. They kind of cashed in and said, we got a rookie quarterback. We don't have to pay him right this second. Let's go get a bunch of pieces in the offseason. But like I said, this is going to be a hard game. Going to watch it faithfully. I actually took off work for both of these days so I could recover because I think I'm going to be crying come Thursday night, Friday morning. I'm not projecting the Vikings to win this game. I hope that they do, as always, but I don't think they're going to go into this red-hot LA Rams team and beat them. I don't think so. Especially not if Everson Griffin and Dalvin Cook can't make it. That's gonna be a rough one. We're going to be pretty creative to figure that one out. 1 day ago, I'm looking here. Kyle, did you put the note in that Talib's going to be out? Because I know that.
Sorry, I was doing something else really quick. Yeah, I found that on Twitter when I was doing research for the notes and podcast and stuff. It said he was out, but maybe that's not quite official yet.
I'm reading now, and this was just from yesterday. Today's the 24th. Had an ankle injury, exited in the third quarter. Remains to be seen whether he will play week 4. Nickel Roby Coleman would step in as Rams starting right corner. So that's good. I've never heard of this person, so that's always a good thing. But let's be honest, we're not going to weigh in and say, man, well, I hope everybody's out so we can get a win. We want to beat the best teams. We've said this many times. But it's going to be a rough one on Thursday, and hopefully it's in our favor. But you guys can check that out. ESPN does, it's NFL Network does Thursdays. ESPN does Monday Night Football. Am I right on that?
That's correct.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting too rusty yet. I'm not ancient yet and losing my memory, but that's where you guys can check it out. We don't have a social media question for the week, so I think we're about done.
I think we are good to wrap it up.
Always wrap it up. Always.
Absolutely. We may end up doing a show a little bit earlier this week since the game is on Thursday. I'm assuming we don't want to wait till Monday again to do another show to wrap things up.
I would like to do it.
We usually don't talk about it live on the air, but I am going to take off work. So if you guys want to do it that night or Friday, I'm ready to roll.
Friday.
Yeah, one of those nights would work for me too.
Cool.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Sergio Moreno says Thursday Night Football is also on Fox now. That is if you're in the local broadcast area, I believe only, right?
That's the first I've heard of it. I'm going to go with you yes on that. That's a good that's a good little note to have.
But I know Fox did throw a lot of money down with their new contract with the NFL, so that might be part of it. I don't know.
Okay.
Because I got to admit, I didn't watch the Thursday Night Football contest between the Jets and the Browns.
Ooh, that was a barn burner.
So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But for now, I'd say that the NFL Network is probably your best bet. And locally, it will be on Fox. So, yeah. That's where you can check it out if you're in the Minneapolis area. That's all I have for this week. You guys got anything else?
Nope. Hit all the bases. Kind of got a sour taste in our mouth, so we're going to move on, and hopefully we beat the Rams.
Absolutely. I want to thank everyone who checks out the Viking Age. That's where I get a lot of my work done, and there's always a lot of cool stories popping up on there. And I always do appreciate when you guys go there and visit it, check it out, click on some links, because that's how I make my money. I also make my money over on Undead Walking. So if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead's season finale is coming up very soon. So be sure to check that out. As well as October 7th, we have the season 9 premiere of The Walking Dead. I've already watched the first 3 episodes of season 9, and I've got to say that they are definitely a different feel if you're a fan of those zombie shows, and I think that that's a really good thing because I got to admit All Out War didn't quite do it for me.
I need to get caught up, Adam. I'm behind.
It's time. It's available on Netflix now. Go check it out.
I think I'm like 2 seasons behind. I need to sit down and get caught up with it.
Kyle, we also need to do some horror movie stuff and some Metallica stuff on your podcast. What is your other podcast called?
Ghost Shark is the name of this podcast.
Yeah, the Ghost Shark podcast, where we talk about the movie Ghost Shark
every week. An hour about Ghost Shark.
That is all we do, is discuss Ghost Shark, the podcast. It is Attack of the Podcast. I'm over on SoundCloud.com. I'm having some issues figuring out exactly what I need to do to upload new content right now. So as soon as I get that figured out, I've got a couple episodes recorded. I've got one with Dorian that needs to go up, and then I've got some other cool stuff that I'm going to be doing in the future too. So you can check that out. As Sergio said in the chat, you can check out Shut Up, I Like This. That is the movie podcast where we discuss all kinds of different films, like Ghost Shark. Lots of cool stuff going on over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Smith has his band, and they're doing quite good.
Yeah, we had a show Friday. It was a cool little outdoor venue called One Stop out here in El Paso, Texas. Had some Connexes. Somewhere, the one we played in was actually cut open in half, and then
I saw that. That was a really cool stage area. It was cool. Really industrial.
It wasn't deep, but it was super wide. So my bandmates had a place. I was in the grass right in front, which is cool. I got to walk around. Shout out to the sound guy for doing great stuff for us, Terry. And then we had they had 3 Connexes stacked on top of each other, which those are funny to me because that's kind of what you sleep in while you're overseas, especially early on in this Afghani-Iraqi war. They just get a bunch of Connexes, gut them out, and then put walls inside, and that's where you lived. So I was like, oh, man, haven't seen these before. But they had 3 levels to view, and in the middle, it was an industrial feel, like you said. They had an old truck that they gutted out, and they used the exterior of it to be able to sit at as a bar, which was really cool. And they had a big projector screen. So shout out to One Stop. They gave us a free drink because they liked the way we sounded after the show, which is cool. Thank you for that. And thanks for everybody for coming out to see a Disposable Ink show. If you want to see Metallica tribute in El Paso, come out and see us. And if you can't come to El Paso, you can go on YouTube Just search for Disposable Ink, and we have 9 videos up right now. Believe we're going to be adding a couple more from this past show this week. So if you like Metallica, there you go.
And Dorian Foley is always handsome and looking to talk about wrestling, so hit him up if you ever want to do that.
Sure, why the hell not?
I love your enthusiasm.
We can do that, or we don't have to. It's whatever.
I do want to thank everybody in the chat. We've got Michael Cambria, Yang Yaj, Paul Gruber, Sergio Moreno. We've got just so many awesome people here in the chat that have been interacting and tossing us questions and interacting. I love all of this. It's why we come together, and I hope you'll check out the Facebook page. I think that we're starting to be a little bit more active on Twitter again. And, of course, the Instagram page, which we're using to get you guys some really cool content. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. You can listen to us on iTunes, PodOMatic, Stitcher. If you type in Purple People Podcast on your Google machines, you'll see us all over the place.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, so thanks again, and we'll be back early next week to talk about that game against the Rams, where Yang Yash says he looks forward to the Vikings being 2-1-1 on the season.
All right.
Yeah, so thanks again, everyone, and stay classy, Minnesota.